For as long as humans have existed, the ground beneath our feet has been a symbol of stability and safety. But every now and then, the Earth reminds us that it is a dynamic planet, capable of sudden and violent movements. This is the story of earthquakes, how they occur, and the impact they have had on the Earth and human history. An earthquake is a sudden shaking of the ground caused by movements deep within the Earth's crust. These movements happen when energy that has built up over time is suddenly released, usually due to the shifting of tectonic plates, the massive slabs of rock that make up the Earth's surface. The energy is released in the form of seismic waves, which travel through the Earth and cause the ground to shake. Depending on the strength of the quake and how close it is to the surface, this shaking can be mild and barely noticeable, or so powerful that it topples buildings and causes widespread destruction. Earthquakes are caused by the movement of the Earth's tectonic plates. These plates are constantly shifting, but they usually move so slowly that we don't feel it. However, when plates grind against each other, or when one plate is forced beneath another, stress builds up. Over time, this stress becomes too much for the rocks to handle, and they break or shift, releasing a huge amount of energy. This process usually occurs at fault lines, which are cracks in the Earth's crust where tectonic plates meet. Some of the most famous fault lines include the San Andreas Fault in California and the Pacific Ring of Fire, where a large number of earthquakes occur due to the movements of the Pacific Plate. When the stress at a fault line is released, the energy travels outward in all directions in the form of seismic waves. These waves make the ground shake, and this is what we feel during an earthquake. When an earthquake happens, there are two main types of seismic waves that cause the shaking. P waves, primary waves. These are the fastest seismic waves and the first to be detected after an earthquake. They can travel through both solid rock and liquid. P waves compress and expand the ground as they move, like a slinky. S waves, secondary waves. These waves follow P waves and are slower, but they cause much more damage. S waves move the ground up and down or side to side, which can cause buildings and other structures to collapse. Earthquakes don't last long. Most of the shaking happens within seconds to a few minutes. However, even after the main earthquake, smaller tremors called aftershocks can occur. These aftershocks can happen days, weeks, or even months after the initial quake and can be almost as powerful as the main event. The point on the Earth's surface directly above where the earthquake occurs is called the epicenter, and the area beneath the surface where the earthquake starts is known as the focus. The closer you are to the epicenter, the stronger the shaking will feel. Earthquakes are measured using a tool called a seismograph, which detects and records the seismic waves produced by the quake. Scientists use the data from seismographs to determine the earthquake's magnitude, which tells us how strong the earthquake was. For many years, the Richter scale was the most commonly used scale for measuring earthquakes. It assigns a number based on the earthquake's strength, with each whole number representing a tenfold increase in power.